What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Giveaway Show. Can you believe it is already 108 episodes? That's more than 2 years worth of weekly live stream episodes here on the channel. We show no sign of slowing down. We're very excited. So it is Easter week. That's right, it is Holy Week for those who are of the Christian faith. And so we decided to do a faith-based comic episode. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. It's going to be fun. We got a couple guest stars, one big guest star here hanging out with us in the panel, and looking forward to being able to hear what he's got to see and look at some of his awesome collection. Real quick shout out to as we get started, to our channel, to one of our channel sponsors, Lone Star Heroes Comics and Toys. 3 convenient locations in the greater Houston area: Galveston, Lake Jackson, and NASA Lago. Make sure and check them out because they've got a ton of stuff going on over there. In addition to the massive sale that they just did, and all of us went and hit up their stores. That's right, they're doing another one in 2 weeks. April 5th, 6th, and 7th, they're going to be doing another sale, even deeper discounts. This one was a surprise. We're excited because it's another time and reason to get in there and dig in those back issue bins, which are filled with treasures. So you want to make sure and check them out. If you have any questions about them, make sure to message me, or you can message their Instagram, which is Connect. You'll see it pop up from time to time over on my Instagram. So big shout out and thanks to them for supporting the show and the channel as a whole. Lots of cool stuff coming down the pipe for that. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here. We look forward to getting this thing started. We're going to go and roll the intro, and we'll see you in just a minute. All right, hey, we're back. As we get things started, I'm going to go ahead and bring out the panel one by one and let them say hey to everybody. I'm going to because it's a very special day in his life, I'm going to let him come out first. I'm going to let Paul come out, and then the rest of us, before the end of the show, we're going to need to sing happy birthday, a virtual happy birthday to him. Here he is, the birthday boy, Paul Comics.
All right, appreciate y'all being here tonight. I just want to say thank you to everybody who wished me a happy birthday. Thank y'all. Appreciate that. Right, Billy? Oh, okay. Well, me and Billy are here tonight. Going to give y'all the right information y'all need. And thank y'all again for the wishes. And, yeah, let's get started. All right, Billy?
Awesome. Billy. All right, I'm going to take it over to the future Batman. Here he is. Here's Jen.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're gonna have a wonderful night tonight with the panel and topics that we're gonna discuss later. So tune in, guys. Tune in.
Nice. All right, man. Well, as always, fun to have you two guys. But hey, that wasn't enough. So here is returning to YouTube for this very special guest appearance. You make sure and check his channel out. Here is Shelby's Comics. So excited to have him here hanging out with us tonight.
What's up, guys and gals? Man, so happy to be back on the YouTubeverse. Thank you, Carlos, for inviting me. Happy birthday, Paul. I'll give you a present later. You know.
Thank you there, Shelby. I appreciate that, man. The only one on the panel that said that.
Come sit on Daddy's lap, and I'll give you a present.
Whoa.
Be like Santa Claus. Anyway, and then future Batman, thank you all, man. So happy to be here. I appreciate
it. Awesome. All right. Well, it's good to have you guys hanging out with us. And we're going to be joined by one more panelist. He's got some computer updates going on, but he'll be jumping on with us a little bit later on in the episode. But y'all keep an eye out for Weapon X. He'll be popping in tonight as well. So we're going to talk about faith-based comics. Before we do that, though, I want to do some chat shout-outs and see who is hanging out here in the chat with us and what they've got to say. You can see Paul's party in his spot is already going right now. They've got party hats. Batman, Robin, Billy, they're all there. All right, Las Cruces, 1971 says, good morning, hooray, and woohoo. He's glad that he's here. As always, glad to see him here. Our day one channel member, El Green Machine, is hanging out here in the chat as well with some Carlos logos. And hello. All right, there he is, our brother from down under. Australian AC is hanging out. He says hi. Christina Payne, what's up? She says, smash She-Hulk, smash that like button. And here's one of our hardworking moderators, Liz Barnes. She's hanging out with us as well. She says she's reminding everybody hit that thumbs up. And
she's not the official light count person, right? She's
the official light counter. All right, there's Christina Payne again. Las Cruces again, saying from New Mexico. Here's David Dotson hanging out. Carlos DLR says, good evening, everyone, and happy birthday, Paul, Popeye Comic. That's right. That's him, folks. Good evening, comic lovers and comic addicts. Happy Easter from Meatwad number 1. Good to see you, buddy. All right, he says, happy birthday, Paul. Ryan Riley's popping in and saying, what's up, my peeps? Brooklyn Born is saying, are the rumors true? Will Paul be wearing bunny ears on this episode? Well, he's wearing something for sure. I'm not sure what that is on his head, but he's definitely wearing something. All right, we got next up, there's El Green Machine again with another happy birthday. He says, hashtag Team Paul. Paul loves to see hashtag Team Paul. So we got a surprise for him tonight. All right, happy birthday, hashtag Team Paul. All right. Also, Christina Payne is saying as well. Pops Mafia popping in says, let the celebration begin. All right, we're already at 15 likes. Hey, to the almost 20 people that are here, make sure and hit that like button for us. Yes, I'm sporting my Wanted Billy shirt tonight. All right, I don't have a Paul shirt yet, but I can only confirm or deny that it is coming. All right, Brooklyn Born says, happy born day, Paul. Not too bad for your 133rd birthday. I don't know if he's 133 years.
Watch it, Brooklyn.
Right. Christina Payne popping in again. Joffrey Castro says, hello, everyone, and a big happy birthday to the man, Paul. Paul got some shrimp earlier today, and you got a little gift from the channel. So we're excited and just thankful to him for just being that day one here with us. Dagger Card says, woot woot, happy birthday to Billy too. Happy birthday, Paul. There's Shelby's Comics dropping in. I knew I had to tingle my pants for some reason. Hey, happy all right, where's Billy's party hat? Oh, he's got the party hat. You can see it.
Got the Florida League going.
Mr. Collector popping into the chat. There he is. Happy 65th birthday, Paul and Billy. Actually, Billy is 118 from what I understand. Paul is just shy of 65. He just turned 64 this year. So we're excited for him. But, man, I mean, look at that skincare routine that he's got. I want to look that good at 64. All right. David Spider-Man Dotson says, happy birthday, Paul. Guy Forge, what's up? He says, stopping by to say happy birthday to Paulie. There you go.
Thank you, Guy Forge.
Party hat. Oh, Wolverado says, Feliz cumpleaños, Paul. Don't look a day over 70. There you go. Hey, what's up, Real James Williams? Good to see you, buddy. He says,
the cat's attacking.
You as well. Uh-oh. Invasion of the felines. All right, El Green Machine says, hey, Paul, did you go to the casino and do your birthday spin yet?
I haven't done that yet.
All right, James Willie says, Shelby, Jen, happy birthday, Paul. Liz Barnes says, you are funny. We had suspected it for some time, but she's confirming it. All right, Brooklyn Bourne says, Paul, what did Mr. Collector get you for your birthday?
Nothing.
Uh-oh. Okay, we got a claim on the Batman.
Okay.
All right. What is the cat's name?
What is the cat's name?
Cat, yeah, most people know Freeway, but Freeway is very, very sick. It's one of the reasons I took some time off last summer. She was diagnosed with cancer. They gave her about 6 months to live. She's still alive, so we're on month 7, but she's pretty much on the couch most of the time. She can't get up too well because the cancer's in her hip and stuff. So, yeah. So, but I will tell Freeway y'all thought about her and said hi.
And I'm sorry to hear that, Shelby. I'm
Yeah.
sorry that it's going rough for her. And then he's introducing Jack the cat.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Jack just waited for you to turn around, and then he hopped on. He
Yeah.
was like, "I'm getting my cat."
He's chasing a fly or something. He sees something. He's running around over here.
Oh, this is really sweet and heartfelt as well. Mr. Collector says he gave you his heart, Paul.
Yeah, right. He took it back.
You see that, Mr. Collector? You see how ungrateful he is? You tried to give him
Get
something
back.
sincere, and that's how he acts. All right, Cross DLR says, "Oh, sorry for Freeway, Mr. Shelby." Yeah, that's sad to hear. You know, it's hard to say goodbye to those furry family members. It really is. But you know, it's I believe it's a temporary goodbye. It's not a goodbye. It's a see you later. So that's a theological thing I came to within the past 5 years, by the way. So, but that's a whole other episode. We have to do it. We need to do an all pets episode, and that would be that'd be a pretty cool. Canadian Survivalist, what's up? I haven't seen you in a few weeks. Good to see you, buddy. Glad that y'all are hanging out here with us tonight. All right, so hey, as promised, we are going to be doing. Oh, there we go. Paul showing off all the things he's giving away for his birthday. There you go. Here you go. All right. So tonight, the subject for tonight is faith-based comics. We're talking about because it is Easter week, it is Holy Week. This past Sunday was Palm Sunday. That was a celebration of Jesus entering the city. People threw palm fronds down. He came in on a donkey, and we saw that in the graphic for tonight in the Easter story. But this upcoming weekend is going to be Easter weekend. You know, we have Good Friday, and then we've got Saturday, and then Sunday is Resurrection Sunday or Easter night, as it's known. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But one of the things that that draws us to comic books is the personal experiences of the characters that we care about, and we'd be remiss in saying that faith is not a big part of the human experience. Now, different people are going to have all kinds of different beliefs, and we're not here to tell you what to believe. That's absolutely not what this is. But this is a cool episode, I thought, because it gives us an opportunity to dive into a subject that we don't generally talk about a whole lot, and also to show off some really cool books. So if you're into even Golden Age books that might have a faith tinge to them, or all the way up to modern books, there is a wide variety that we're going to show off here. I personally, selfishly, am very excited because I'd love to see Shelby show off his collection because he has a massive collection. We're going to get to that in just a minute. Also, it gives me an opportunity to say thanks to some recent AOKs that came in, and to tout some of my bigger stories and some of the bigger stories that I really have enjoyed, and to point out some cool videos that we've done in the past. If you check out at the top of the homepage for the channel, about a couple months ago, I added a featured videos playlist, and what that is that replaces the This Week on Carl's Collects playlist, and it shows this week's episode of the giveaway show, but it also shows some past videos that you might want to check out that kind of tie into what we're talking about. The two other videos that you can catch on there right now is an interview that I did with Mark Waid, who is the writer behind the famous Kingdom Come storyline from DC Comics, but also tons of other books. He's literally got hundreds, if not thousands, of books to his credit. So I had the chance to sit down with him at a comic convention a few years ago and did a little interview with him. And so that was really cool. That's under the featured videos that you can check out. You can also check out a top 10 Nightwing comics book because Nightwing has gone through some cool faith journeys in the past. And so I wanted to go ahead and showcase that video as well. That and more than 2,000 people have enjoyed watching that video and checking it out. It still gets likes even I think a year later. So just a couple of the videos and a couple notes for you. If you're not a channel member yet and you'd like to be one, make sure and check that out. There's a join button where you can check out the different stuff. If you have questions about what the Carlos care package includes, you can ask El Green Machine. He just got his first. And then the second Dark Knight channel member, that box will be going out shortly here. But it's just me curating books for you based on the information that you provide for me. The benefit of that is that I live in one of the biggest cities in the country. We literally have more than 24 comic shops open in the greater Houston area, and I hit up a lot of them. So that's one person that's out there, like a personal shopper out there looking around for you, picking out books to add to a care package that I ship to you on a quarterly basis. But you can read more about that here on the channel, and also check out the video that will be shortcoming. But enough about all that. Let's get into the books. So we're going to be sharing some of our favorite faith-based books. I'm going to go back into the group chat, and I'm going to go back into the group view, and then I'm going to open it up and let you guys share just some of the books that you might have, and just dive in as you feel ready to. All right, so guys, who wants to share? Oh, look, here's a satisfied customer. El Green Machine says awesome care packages. He's very excited about his. We need to have him show it off sometime. But yeah, the care packages are tailored to you. It's unlike any other mystery box that I know of, where you just get random books. These books are tailored for you.
Yeah, right now. You want
based on this. So, all right. So, who among us wants to go first and share some books? Shall we? You want to jump in?
I'll do it first.
All right. Yeah, and you don't have to show all of them. You can just share a few.
Share a few. You were asking the first question about favorite. I'm not sure if I have a favorite. I do know that what I liked a lot was the Marvel, because I'm a Marvel guy. And in the early 80s, Marvel put out 3 Christian-based books. I have one of them here, Mother Teresa.
Nice.
But they also did Pope John Paul and then Francis, Brother of the Universe. And from what I understood, and of course the theme with each of those 3 books is they're Catholic. And from what I understand with the history of that is one of the main Catholic groups there in New York worked a deal with Marvel Comics. They produced those 3 books. The Pope John Paul coincided with his tour of America, where he came to New York City, and I can't remember what stadium he was at in New York City off the top of my head, but it wasn't Madison Square Garden. But anyway, it coincided with his tour of coming to America, and then of course they published Mother Teresa, and then Francis, as far as I know, was published but only distributed at that Catholic group there.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to find. I do have a copy, I just couldn't find it. So,
when I was a kid, I had a copy of the Pope John Paul one.
Paul was probably the most widely distributed one.
Yeah, I remember we got it at like a church, or no, like it was like a Catholic gift shop, and I had it for a long time, and I think it finally fell apart and got thrown out. Yeah, well, the covers would come off, and yeah.
Pope John Paul actually had newsstand distribution. And if you notice, Mother Teresa does not have a barcode on it. There's a barcode on the package. So it was direct distribution only, which is pretty rare. So this had much less distribution. And then the Francis one, like I said, was sold, I believe, only at that Catholic, and I apologize, I know I'm not saying the word correct, Catholic not only church, but headquarters there in New York.
Oh, cool.
Probably, you have some crossovers. I know you were talking about mainstream. I think you're going to show some of the more mainstream ones. I know that I really appreciated, like, speaking of Catholicism, Daredevil, his Catholic upbringing really molded him, especially during the Frank Miller run. Nightcrawler was very openly religious later on. But I liked a lot of crossover books. And growing up in the 70s, my grandparents, who were very religious, I wasn't allowed to, supposedly wasn't allowed to read superhero books because they were in costumes and thus they were the devil and stuff. But my parents didn't care. But what they did allow me to read was Archie, and Archie had a crossover. So this is Christian Spire Comics, which a lot of people know about. Christian Spire is somewhat loosely associated with those little pamphlets you see sometimes in churches, and there were some Christian Spire comics at my church and stuff you could pick up. So I was allowed those. So you notice sunshine is spelled, so like Son of God. And and Easter is a very important holiday to me because I was actually born on Easter Sunday.
Really?
I was, and Easter doesn't fall on the same day every year.
Yeah.
So my birthday falls on Easter every 22 years.
That's good information to know, man. I'm going to file that away.
Yeah, so my next one comes up when I'm 66. I had one of these, but celebrities that were very open with their Christianity. Landry, Dallas Cowboys, and then of course Johnny Cash was for a short period of time. So these were pretty cool. And if you notice, a lot of these were done by Al Hartley, who is a longtime artist on Archie that's associated with this Christian Spire Company, which was associated with Archie Comics. That's why Archie characters are in that. My grandmother she's a very big Christian. She loved reading any kind of stories. And a lot of Christian Spire comics are based on actual books and true stories. Noah's Ark is a really cool one with like the almost funny animal drawings and stuff. And Noah looks like there in the middle. It looks kind of like R.J. Argones or something like Groove.
That is the most loving looking lion I've ever seen.
I know, right?
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and a moose behind Noah. But that's a really cool one. But all of this is based on novels and true stories. So The Hiding Place, of course, about Jewish in World War II. Adam and Eve, kind of a modern retelling of the classic story. Praise to Prison. I remember my grandmother had this.
Yes, I have that one also.
Yeah. Crossfire. I remember reading this, but about a police officer that took odd risks with his life. Oh, and then there was that movie with Adam. What's his name? Garfield, Andrew Garfield, right? Where Christian saved his whole unit. Time to Run.
I don't remember the name, but I do remember that there was a movie.
Yeah. Paul. Jack puts his tail on the way.
Hey, help him out, Jack. I'll just sit there, Jack.
Lindor, really cool. Story of Jesus. This is an interesting one. This is not Christian Spire, but this is actually somehow associated with the area up in New York company. So that's a really interesting one. I remember my grandmother had this book too.
Yeah.
And this one really cool. So, and then Christian Spire actually had a couple of series that I thought was interesting. So they had Adventure with the Brothers. So I have three different ones. I'm not sure how many they put out.
I've never seen these before. These are interesting.
Wow.
But it's also Al Hartley.
It is, yeah. You gotta love Al Hartley.
Yeah, he did a lot of work on the faith-based stuff in the 70s.
He did. And then another series they put out was Barney Bear. So this was actually geared towards children, kiddies, children comics. So Barney Bear in Toyland, and then Barney Bear in his Sunday school picnic. So
Nice.
They're having fun.
Can't have church without food.
And yeah, Sunday school and stuff. I mean, and that's a big part of my life, right? Was, growing up, going to Sunday school, and my church, had a big front yard area that we would have Easter egg hunts and, picnics and things like that. And, I really do appreciate, I always say that any kind of good qualities that I have is due to my grandmother, whom was, like I said, very religious, and, would sit me down and read me faith-based stories at night, and would pray together and such. And while I don't go to church as much as I should nowadays, I mean, I do really, really, really appreciate and respect that part of my childhood. So all these things are very important to me to I don't go out and, preach to anybody, but having something like that in the comics medium was important to me, and I wish we had more of that today. So
Yeah.
keep them in line, Jack.
Jack's like, I'm here to be a star. I am here for it. Man, that was cool, Shelby. Thank you for sharing those. We're going to come back around if you have any more in a few minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it back over. I'm going to bring it to let Weapon X say hello to everybody, because he
Oh, boo. Boo.
And so, what's up, Weapon X? I like that baby picture you got there, dude.
I know.
Yeah.
I had to go search the internet. I found this baby picture of Paul. I figured for his birthday, we'd go ahead and put it up here.
Why they take that off the Biggie album?
That is beautiful. That is.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Oh, man. Get him out of here. Thank you, buddy.
All right. So Weapon X, while it's on you, you got any comics, any faith-based comics to show off to us?
I do not. I don't really collect anything like that.
That's okay.
Something I'm into, but it's kind of cool to see Shelby's what he has. That that's kind of needed to have that niche market for religious comics. I'm sure if I were to go to a Christian bookstore, there'd probably be a plethora of those types of books or whatever. But yeah, it's not something I come across every day at Lone Star Heroes and Toys.
You gotta hunt them out for sure.
Lone Star Heroes and Toys.
So
we'll come back to me.
I'm glad you're here. Hey, so real quick, let's bring it back. I'm bringing it back into the full. So Jen or Paul, does either of you have any faith-based comics you want to share? Jen's in the middle of a conversation.
Yes,
Oh, Jen, you ready to go out?
yeah.
I'll talk to you in a bit. All right,
Uh-oh.
guys. There is one particular comic that I do like that goes into faith base and all that, but it's mostly Kingdom Come. I'm a huge Superman fan. Clearly, I'll try again. All right, so over here, Siri's over here bothering me. Anyways, so Kingdom Come is probably one of my favorite stories of all time. Mark Waid, I've met him like a few times. We've discussed Superman, and just how he developed the character in that comic book, and so one of my favorite things about that comic is that Superman, who's supposed to be a symbol of hope, goes off and loses hope once Lois Lane dies in the story, and eventually he spends most of his years in that comic book in the Fortress of Solitude, until Wonder Woman eventually tells him, look, the world has turned into a dark place where they accept killers as heroes. You have to come out of the shadows. You have to be the hero that everybody sees you as. So eventually he comes back and he becomes the Superman that we all see him as. But the really beautiful part of the story is that it's his second coming back into the world is almost symbolic, because after that story he goes into the Source Wall and he meets God, and eventually he develops new powers and he becomes Superman 1,000,000, which is why whenever we discuss like those battles, I'm like, you guys don't even know the potential of what Superman's capable of. Like, the guy holds back so much. It's like that if he was to go 100, he would destroy the Earth. Like, he would go Goku on the Earth. But I would say Kingdom Come is one of my favorite comics. I didn't have a chance to bring my Kingdom Come stuff with me, but that was one character that I wanted to talk about. The other character was Kamala Khan. That's another character that I really like. If you haven't picked up her newest comic, this would be the one that's currently the one that's being pushed right now, and also the actress that's actually playing Kamala Khan, who's also Muslim, like the character. She wrote that book, so you could always support her. I felt like aside from Superman and how well they do a job with him and being kind of like the symbol of hope, kind of like this, kind of like a symbol of either Jesus or Moses, because the creators of Superman were Jewish. It's very interesting how Kamala Khan, in a very similar way, her religion is a very big, almost like an aspiration of her character. Like, her clothing, very conservative. They don't like everything that they've done with her character so far. It's almost like total respect towards the religion, towards the character, and so forth. Also, they also show that she was born and raised in America, and due to that, they show her culture being bicultural. She's American, but she's Pakistani American, right? Pakistani American. So
right.
That's another thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that when you're born in another country, your culture is mostly that. But when you're here, it's kind of like a melting pot, and you go through an identity crisis. A lot of people go through it. Yes, Jersey, Mr. Nash. And what's up, brother? Nice seeing you, man. Brothers in blue. So that's another thing. That's another character that I really like. I like how they've developed her. I know the movies don't really do justice. The recent movies aren't doing a lot of these characters justice, but I felt like she was kind of like the backbone or the spine of of the Marvels movie that came out. Like, you know, almost every character was dull for a brief moment, but I felt like she was kind of like the glue. The fact that you have a fangirl telling the main character, wait, why don't you just go into the sun and just power it up and the end, right? I never thought of that. So the fact that, yeah, my wife and I talked about that. I'm like, this is poor writing. But the fact that they did that, you know, like they used her religion, her culture, her family. It's almost like it's the character is developing into something that we haven't seen on screen. I don't think they've ever done a Muslim superhero before. So I can relate to that. I am Muslim myself. I don't really talk about it. But seeing that, they're even on the television show, I was like, oh man, the way she's breaking down the B-boys at the mosque, the aunties that gossip. I was like, oh man, they do that. Like whoever wrote this, it's like they went to these areas and they studied. They studied you know, it's like, holy crap. So I thought that was kind of cool that they did that with Miss Marvel. And then the final character that I wanted to talk about was one of my favorite stories. I was telling Carlos this last week when we were discussing this episode. So when the Tom King did the Batman run, which back in 2018, 2019, it was around the time they did Rebirth and all that. There was an issue called Batman 50, where it was supposed to be the marriage issue. You know, everybody went crazy over Batman was going to marry Catwoman, but then she left him at the altar. Well, I stopped reading Batman after that. Like, I was like, well, why would you do that to Batman? Like, there was no reason to do that. It was a total cop out. Like, why do that? Well, for issue 50 until issue 78, 83, Batman goes on this dark, faithless, journey. There's a point where he has a conversation with Alfred and just random randos, in the comic book, and where he talks about God, and someone asks him hey, do you believe in God? And he's like, I used to. And then he goes into the whole, well, I was left at the altar and, went through this. I feel like, why would God do that to me? Well, his entire journey, the way it's played out, he meets Catwoman back up again and, they hook back up and he starts believing again. This is actually one of my favorite covers. If I see Art Germ again, I got to get him to sign this. But, of course, this isn't by Tom King, but again, I didn't have enough time to get the Tom King stuff together. Plus, I try to keep those things mint. I put them in Mylar like a crazy person. But I went back and I told Carlos, I was like, man, when they hooked him back up with Catwoman, I went back and I went to all these comic book shops and I was like, go to Lone Star, guys. I mean, they got some really great back issue stuff, and you won't regret it. So go back, and I started collecting them again. I was like, oh man, I wish I didn't drop this issue. So I went from 50 all the way until now. So I'm still up in reading Batman. I like that they went into that. I like how he almost was in this dark place. And then he kind of has this little therapy session with Catwoman. And I want to spoil that because it's probably one of the best writings that Tom King has done in a comic book. He actually breaks down Batman psychologically and spiritually. And he actually tells Catwoman, you're the reason I'm Batman. You left me thinking that I wasn't going to be Batman, but it's and I had faith in us, and then the minute that happened, I lost faith in everything. Myself, you, God, everything. And then eventually she shows him the way. In that comic book run, it's fantastic the way it's written. And eventually it gets back to being some people say he's Catholic, others say that he's Protestant. And then I think Frank Miller said it a few times that sometimes he has him as Catholic and sometimes Others have him as an atheist. Well, he was an atheist in that run, and then he went back to believing. But those would be my three characters that I wanted to share. That whenever they do touch bases on politics or religion, I try to trend away from that. But when they turn a character, who's struggling, and he overcomes those struggles, and he finds his faith in something to overcome that. Sometimes it's inspirational or aspirational to the reader, so it may touch you in a different way. Like for me, when I was reading Miss Marvel, when her mom was telling her about, hey, you shouldn't do this superhero stuff. You should study and be an engineer, or you should go into chemical engineering or whatnot, right? And then she's like, that's not what I want to do. Every Asian parent, being Middle Eastern and so forth, everyone that has had parents like that can relate to that. And the fact that they use her religion, her culture, all that stuff, I felt that was great. It was a great way to push that character and really ground the character. And I think that's what makes these comics very special, is that when they ground the character, we can relate to them, right? So, and of course, everyone's going to have different beliefs. Some people don't believe in anything. And, if that's you, that's cool, man. I'm not going to dog you for it. But when they do come across these characters and you do read these things, sometimes question yourself why. There's so many characters out there that have different beliefs and different cultures. What are you talking about, Billy? I don't know. All right, anyway, now I'm just mumbling like what Paul said. What am I talking about, Billy? So that's all for me, and that's all I have to say. I'm a little shy on the topic, but that's all I have to say. And
thank you for sharing, Jen. I'm glad that you did. So I'm going to go and bring it back over here real quick into group view. All right, so hey, I noticed a couple people in the chat said that the stream is restarting. Just go ahead and use the bar at the bottom as Liz is instructing y'all to get caught up. So here's the deal. I dropped in there for you to enter for the chance to win. Hashtag Happy Birthday Paul is what you want to put. All right, hashtag Happy Birthday Paul. I'm going to go ahead and bring that screen up. We're going to do the first giveaway. And hey, I didn't share with y'all what the giveaways are for tonight. Graciously provided to us by our friends over at Lone Star Comics, or Lone Star Heroes Comics and Toys. First batch that we're going to be giving away. This is the Joker #1. This is the Mark Brooks variant version. Let me jump back over here so y'all can see it. All right, we've got this. We have a mystery book. All right, as always, this beautiful Mark Brooks cover. Now, usually we have this. We have a different random comic as the upgrade giveaway comic, is what we call it. Tonight, since it's Easter Sunday and we're Easter week, and we're going to be talking about faith-based.
And while you're looking for that, can I see the giveaway, the secret book?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and put on here just for tonight, and it's a copy.
What Weapon wants to see it? Can you see it?
No.
Come on, Weapon.
Okay, so we're going to give away. I'm going to give away you can upgrade to from Spire Christian Comics, Corey Ten Boom's The Hiding Place. It is a true story about a Christian who survived being put into Nazi camps, and it's a harrowing story because it's true, but she did survive, and it was her faith that kept her going. So you can get that. You can take the Return of the Valkyries art journal cover. I've got the Joker #1 Mark Brooks variant, or the mystery book here. You get your choice of 4 books tonight. All right, so that's what you're going to be up for when you win, or when you have the chance. We go and bring these up here. The giveaway is hashtag The code is hashtag Happy Birthday Paul. We're going to go ahead and run that right now. 22 entries. Make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already, and also make sure and subscribe. You know, we got a lot of cool content coming up, and I'd love for all of you to get a chance to check it out. So make sure that you do that.
Billy is wearing your shirt, Billy.
See, there's people in there saying hashtag blame Paul. But yeah, make sure and check it out. Here we go. Good luck to everybody. In 3.
Good luck, guys. Appreciate y'all for this birthday
There we
wishes.
go.
Let's
All
go.
right. It
Let's
is
go,
going.
Carlos.
It is going. No, it's gonna. We're gonna do it again if I
Oh,
win.
Carlos. There it goes.
We're
One more
doing it
time.
again.
Carlos. There they are.
Guy Forge, what's up, Guy Forge? Congratulations, buddy. Remember, we have started it where you do need to be present in order to tell us which of the books you want. In addition to getting us the information, so within the next few minutes or so, Guy Forge, we need you to pop back in. If somebody knows him and wants to send him a quick message, Guy Forge, you need to pop in and let us know which of the 4 available books you would like to take. You're going to have your choice. Again, it's Guy
Thank
Forge.
you, Guy Forge. He says, give me all the books. Thank you, buddy.
All right. So you get either the Mark Brooks Joker #1 variant, which I've heard is a fun book. There's a mystery book that you can choose.
See the mystery book?
There is The Hiding Place, which is just for tonight. That's a Spire Christian comic from the 70s. Or you can take the Art Germ Return of the Valkyries #1 variant. All right, start that count.
3-minute timer.
Yeah,
There's
this is not an option
timer.
show. We're not going to start up. All right, coming
It's
up
it.
next. Hey, if you didn't win this time and you want a chance to win in another, I'd say in about another 20 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes, we're going to go ahead and do our second giveaway of the night. This is the book that you can choose to win.
that
There is
mystery
also
book?
a mystery for this one,
Ooh.
or either of these two if they're still here. All right, but the first winner of the night does get the first crack at either of these two if that's what they want. So, Guy Forge, if you're out there, make sure and pop in and let us know. Let us know which one you want.
Everybody's just counting down.
I know everybody's got like their own little timer going right now. All right, so I'm gonna jump in real quick. I'm gonna share on the heels of what these guys were talking about. I'm gonna go through this super fast, and then panel, be thinking about what makes a good faith-based comic. What makes a good faith-based comic? All right, Jen and Shelby both touched on a couple of subjects, and I'll get. Oh, there he is. What's up, Guy Forge? So make sure to let us know which one you want. Do you want the?
Oh, sorry, Guy Forge, you didn't beat the timer, buddy.
You want the Joker, or do you want the mystery book, or do you want either of these two here that are up? Guy Forge, you got your choice of any of
Oh, he
these.
says he wants the shirt.
What feed are you watching, man? All
His
right.
feed must be restarting.
Okay. Hey, Guy Forge, drop it in the chat and let us know. So I'm going to be showing off some of the books that I wanted to. So Jen touched on them before. What's up, Park Place Properties? Good to see you. So Jen touched on one of my favorite faith-based comics of all time. It is called Kingdom Come. It is a legendary series, 4-part series that was done by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. It was Alex Ross's complete painted interiors. Everything is painted on this. So this is my graphic novel copy. I also have all 4 issues signed by Mark, and he did when I interviewed him. Where did he sign this? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, he just signed it for me because this is like my reading copy. So the neatest thing about it, because we had a chance, you can watch the full interview in the featured video section. But the coolest thing about it was he basically took the Book of Revelation, which is the last book in the Christian Bible, and he took that and he adapted it to he used the DC Universe to adapt that book out of the Bible into a comic book story. And he got matched up with Alex Ross to do the art, and so it is a fantastic graphic novel. regardless of what your thoughts are on faith-based comics or whatever, fantastic story. Jim pointed out, the kind of the change that Superman goes through. Another cool thing I want to point out, make sure in case, like, say you've already read the comic and you love the comic and you want more, let me highly recommend the novelization by Elliot S. Maggin. And this one adds a lot of context and additional information that just really helps complete and fill out the story. So it's two great pieces that both tell the same story. You don't need it. You don't need both, but they really do add a lot to the thing. So that's one of my favorite faith-based comics of all time. Shelby showed off a lot of the Spear Christian comics. I have most of those. Cross and the Switchblade, I think, is the most popular, or is the most well-known of them. They made it into a film starring Eric Estrada in the 70s. Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys, he pointed that one out. A modern retelling of the Apostle Paul's story. Crossfire, I don't remember what this one was about. My Brother's Keeper, obviously, two brothers gone different directions. Time to Run, I don't remember what this one was. There's a New World Coming. This was an end times, like end of the world story. Live It Up was a basic kind of conversion story. Like from the book of Ecclesiastes, the person trying everything out and nothing could fulfill them. In the Presence of Mine Enemies. I believe this one, Shelby, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this one was also a true story of a POW, but I'm not 100% sure.
It was.
Yeah.
I think during the Korean... I think the Korean War, not the Vietnam War. I think the Korean War, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Two of the hiding place.
So, okay, I do have two. I have two copies of it.
Wow.
And this one,
I
love this one, and my wife loves the book by Corey Ten Boom. There's a book also, but the comic book is cool to read because it gives you a good kind of highlight.
It's showing off now. You got two of them.
The Gospel Blimp.
That's cool.
I don't know what this one's about. And then God Smuggler. This was another true story of a missionary who was smuggling Bibles into a communist country. So,
Guy Forge, pick whatever you want, buddy.
Those are the Spire ones. Yeah, okay, so Guy Forge says he's going to take the mystery book.
No,
here is the Joker #1. All right, he chose mystery. So what is Guy Forge going to get? He is getting a nice, bright, shiny copy of the Wonder Woman #1 facsimile foil cover. So nice book here, nice fun book for you, which also is mythology and kind of, in some ways faith kind of based.
Yeah,
but all right, so this one will be going to Guy Forge. Remember, for Guy and for everybody else, you need to send me a message either on Instagram or via email and let me know your shipping information. That's the only thing you have to do. Is just give us your shipping info, and it will get sent out to you. If we don't get anything by tomorrow, very early Friday, it won't end up going out. So.
Yeah, Guy Forge sent a message to IG with shipping.
Hey, Carlos.
Yes.
Hey, when you were showing the Kingdom Come comic book, you were showing. He was showing the one with the novelization. So Maggin, the one that has the show, the one there you go. So Maggin actually talks about not just Superman's faith, but Elliot also goes into speaking of Batman's faith too, and even goes in further to explain that he's a Episcopalian, I believe what is like a branch of Protestant. But again, Frank Miller is the one that goes into Catholicism and so forth for Batman and many other things. But yes, the novelization is wonderful. So the fact that he brought that up is just like, wow, yes. Because I was trying to think of the name, and I was like, what was the name of the person that talked about Batman's religion, and that was the author. So that's good. That was really good, Carlos. I just wanted to add that in there. That was wonderful.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you reminded me that had gone on in there. So I do want to do a quick shout out to Jonathan. No, I'm going to get y'all. I'm going to get it wrong. Which you guys sent me this terrible for it. It was Jonathan.
Dotson?
Yes. Wait, nope. I knew it was going to happen. It was David.
Oh, I like your Tron headset over there. You entering the Tron?
It's not a Tron headset. It's an Iron Man.
Hello Kitty headset.
You go. Hello Kitty.
Yeah, it lights up. Look at that. It lights up. Look at that.
That was his birthday gift.
You cycling? You cycling over there? Oh
yeah. It was, sorry about that. All right, so it was David Dodson. He sent these to me. I want to show these off real quick because these were faith-based comics. So Marvel, I think Shelby had mentioned it earlier. Marvel Comics teamed up with Nelson Publishers, which was a big Christian publishing company in the day. They published some of the versions of the Bible.
Thank you, Guy Forge.
So they teamed up and they did a Christian superhero called the Illuminator, and I actually kind of like the artwork for this cover. This is the first of 3. And he sent me the first one. So this is the Illuminator from Marvel Comics and Nelson Publishers. I thought this was kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to. I'm going to complete the set of 3. He also sent me this Jesus Christ, the Faith series, #1 from Blue Water Comics. This was published in 2010 and is a biblical adaptation. And last one he sent over was Holy Scrolls, the origin of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which I thought was kind of cool that they had turned this into a comic book. Because you don't see a lot of writing on the Dead Sea Scrolls, so this was a neat one. So big shout out and thank you to David Dodson for sending these over. Much appreciated, and they're part of the PC now. Also, there were some older books that I know we talked about from Dell Comics. They adapted the movie, the biblical epic Ruth, into the story of Ruth for this nice little 10 center here that I've had this for quite some time. I picked it up a while back. There weren't a ton of biblical epics done in the Dell line, but this was actually a movie adaptation rather than a biblical epic.
Yeah, Dell had a big, I believe it's called Movie Classic comic book line, and so it depends on the movie company. They would have so a few did get published, like Ruth and stuff. We also talked earlier about Classics Illustrated. Did a few. I believe they did the 10 Commandments, and I think they did the story of Moses.
Funny you should mention it. I was also going to show from Classics Illustrated, there were special oversized issues. Here is the story of Jesus.
Yeah.
This is it. And you can tell that this is a really thick one, so it's a full story. All right, so they did this one, Classics Illustrated, and then they also did,
because they've republished that one through. I think there was like 4 different series of Classics Illustrated.
There was a bunch of them.
Yeah,
that cover is beautiful, man. Carlos, that cover is so beautiful.
It is.
Those camels, man. Beautiful. Nobody knows how to draw a camel like that. Those are just beautiful camels.
Oh, the desert, the waves of the desert and stuff. Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right. And then the 10 Commandments was the other one that you had mentioned. Okay,
cool.
Classics Illustrated. And this was another special oversized edition. And it was also a 35 center. Again, 35 cents. These were more than the 10 cents at the time, the 10 and 12 cents, because they were oversized. They were so much bigger. So this is another really cool one. That just great adaptations that they did, just straight from the, from the Bible, rather than like it being a different. Paul, you ready for that? You want to recite the 10 Commandments?
What?
All right. one more last thing I'm going to show, jumping all the way into the modern era. You all know, I think I've mentioned it before a few times. I'll say it again. So when it comes to faith-based comics, I won't just stick to one like specific, I guess, point of view within Christendom. So some stories that are a little bit darker and that have a little bit more content, stories like American Jesus by Mark Millar and Peter Gross. I do have a copy of the original one signed by Peter, the artist. It's around here somewhere. I don't know where it is. And then they did the sequel series, and because basically this story of a modern Antichrist and a modern Jesus, kind of really mixed up and or not mixed up like from one specific interpretation, but mixed up like they've taken a lot of the elements and they've tried to turn it around and change it up, so it's got a unique feel to it. But American Jesus, I thought was an interesting story because the young man in it believes that he is the second coming of Jesus Christ, and the people around him think that. But then, the plot twist, spoiler alert, is that he is the Antichrist. He is not the second coming of Jesus. So that's a really interesting story. It's only 3 issues. Is well done by those guys. So I have a copy of that. But another more recent one that just came out like a year or so ago was a story by AWA Upshot, written by Peter Milligan, who you might know from some of his Marvel books, and then with art by Marcelo Frusin. And it's called Sacrament. It was a 5-part series, and it was about a future priest who had become addicted to the sacrament, the digital sacrament that he was giving, that had to go up against it. Like, it was basically a far future version of The Exorcist. It does have content in it, including nudity, sex, and language. So I do like to give those heads up that it's not very sanitized. But there's some thought-provoking elements there and themes that are going on. And the one thing I really liked was the lead character's, the priest, struggle with his own faith as he's having to go into this battle with a supernatural force. So, cool story. This is issue number 1. Here's issue number 2. Issue number 3. Issue number 4, and then issue number 5. And as you can see, even just the covers have some very challenging and thought-provoking imagery. And yeah, I would say that it's an interesting story. If you're somebody who is into theology and faith-based comics, it's an interesting story with interesting ideas. Obviously, I don't endorse or believe a lot of what's in here, but I love the idea of a person struggling with their faith, having doubts, working their way through their doubts to a stronger faith in the end. And that's, to me, that's a very human story. And that kind of leads us into one of the big questions I wanted to pose for the whole panel. I'm going to bring them on here in just a second. I'm going to bring them on all on. And the big question is what. And during that, I'll drop in the hashtag for the next giveaway, which is going to be a mystery book, and the upgrade book. But I'm going to drop this question to the panel. What makes a good faith-based comic? I know Jen touched on the idea of the person struggling, and kind of coming through it, and coming through on the other side of doubting. I also love that. Shelby, I know, talked about the nostalgia and the good, fond memories and the positivity that kind of just the faith system had on his life and upbringing. I just wanted to open it up and see what you guys thought, and see if there was any additional stuff y'all want to add about what makes a good faith-based comic?
So for me, it's got to be kind of not serious. I mean, it can't take itself seriously. I know it's a serious subject. You know, people get up in arms about it, and there's wars about it. But my one that I couldn't find it, but I found the image, is Battle Pope. You know, this is the one that I enjoy reading. And if you read up top, the little tagline is, "When he's not leading mass, he's out kicking," and I like that fill in the rest. But I think it's kind of a good, little take on, what's going on, kind of like the religion. They pokes fun at stuff, but at the same time, it's, trying to get stuff across. I think something like that kind of gets me, reading things in that nature. It's not taking itself seriously. It's not a serious, hey, we're trying to promote this, ideal upon you, but here's the representation. If you want to go learn some more about it, you can go in that direction and kind of, leave it upon the reader to divest their own interest and learn more as they see fit. So that's kind of mine. And then my other one that's on my to read list, I know you asked earlier, and I kind of found it, is East of West.
Oh yeah.
Marked to read, but I have not read it yet, and that's kind of one, or basically it's it's America in a post dystopian environment, and the whole fate of them relies on the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's kind of what the plot line is. So that's one that I kind of want to read there. I'd find it, at the sale, but I didn't see it in a trade format. So I'll keep my eye out for that one.
Okay, if you're looking for that, I'll need to make sure to. I think I have a copy of that around here somewhere.
Hey, East of West is great, man. That's a really great. I actually have the first 3 of that book. I didn't go too far into it though, but I remember when that book was like super hot when it first came out. But that's a good book too. So it's a good. Weapon X. It's a good shit.
Really cool. So what makes a good faith-based comic? Anybody else want to jump in on it, or expound upon something previously said?
I can name something else. I mean, you want to go, Paul? I mean, you still haven't gone yet. It's your birthday, we get it, but you want to go? You want to go with your Tron headsets and give it.
I mean, I like Weapon. I don't really have religious comics on there, so I mean, I don't really have any take on this subject. But listening to everybody, seeing what they like to read, that's what's great about the community. You can read and collect certain things that you like. So yeah, I don't have anything on that.
All right, good night, Guy Forge. Thank you for popping in. And
Thank you, Guy Forge.
Paul will get this book for his birthday.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, man. Make sure you deliver me that book there, Carlos.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Thank you, Guy Forge. I appreciate the support, man.
He is raking it in. All right. In case y'all haven't seen it yet, hashtag Team Paul is what you want to enter to win this copy of Uncanny X-Men number 268, featuring artwork by Jim Lee. Direct edition. It's iconic cover that we've all seen before. You can also choose the mystery book, or you can
will put in twice. You're out. Jaguar, you're out. Let me see. I'm gonna go up here and see those.
Okay. Three good nerds. I like this. He says Constantine would call and do a faith-based book in my eyes. Yeah, he is. Great characters, some great stories. I haven't gotten to read much of his stuff, but yeah, you're absolutely right. He is definitely, because that segues into the next one, which is the next topic or question, which is mainstream faith-connected characters. But yeah, Constantine would absolutely qualify as one of those. Let's see what some of the other ones are. Okay, Guy Forge, have a good night. We're going to make sure and get that to him for his birthday. let's see, if Baby New Year's was Benjamin Buttons, I don't know what that was about. That was about Weapon X. Wolverado says the cover art is important to him. Let's see. Can have Paul recite the 10 Commandments for his birthday? Probably not.
I don't know. That was Weapon trying to be smart. Well, I bet Weapon can't do it.
Is very excited about the some of the comic books we've been showing off tonight. Let's see. So other faith-based comics that we've talked about, I think, are mentioned. As a lot of you might know, Nightwing. Not Nightwing. Nightcrawler actually had studied to and did become a priest for a period of time in the X-Men comic books. So that was that was a really interesting thing to see a superhero, Nightcrawler. He said, he actually left the X-Men to go be a priest, which I thought was a very interesting storyline.
They did that in the Fox movie too, didn't they? They had him always like.
They hinted at it, but he didn't leave to be a priest that I know of.
I'm just saying, like, he was always like with the cross and all that.
Yeah. Now his faith has been a huge part. We've talked about it, and here's an interesting thing in case y'all didn't know about it. So Daredevil Born Again has the Daredevil Born Again storyline. Every issue had a different biblical term for that issue. Like one was called Purgatory. The actual title Born Again was used for one of the later ones. Armageddon was one of them. So different ones. Let's see. Wolverado says, to Weapon X's point, use the story to educate me about the faith and religion. Yeah, and I think that was one of the cool things about what Shelby had shown earlier. Some of the Catholic Marvel Comics books, those were actually biographical comic books about real world characters that were who were like public figures, but maybe people had wanted to know a little bit about kind of their backstory, like Mother Teresa, Pope John Paul II, and then Saint Francis of Assisi, and it was they were interesting. I remember the Pope John Paul one. I remember reading that. It was an interesting one that showed you more about kind of his backstory and what he had survived and gone through. Let's see. Okay, West East Bay says, I'm Hindu, so don't know too much about these, but it's interesting. It's cool, yeah. I'm trying to think. Are there any Hindu characters that y'all can think of? Anybody can think of right off the top of their head?
I mean, there's a few. I think there was an X-Men character. I can't remember her name. I would have to look it up right now, but I know there was an X-Men character that they recently created in the comic books. No, Siri, I don't need your help.
Yeah, you do.
So I just know that they created one. I think she had to do with what is it called? The elements, like it's like air and stuff like that. But I know they created a actual antagonist character too. Like I'm reading it right now. They named it after Krishna. So that was another thing that I know. X-Men comics are always challenging diversity and trying to bring in new characters and new audiences. So I always feel like that. That's very interesting that they do that. There is one thing when you were saying something about like what would draw me in or even audiences. There's a novel that came out called Ghostwalker. it eventually became an adaptation called The Gray. It was a movie based on an Alaskan team of engineers that were trying to go back to their home, but the plane crashes and a bunch of wolves decide to eat them.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson was in that movie, but the novel is way better. It's called Ghostwalker. I think they try to make a comic of that, but you know, the main character in that movie was actually atheist. He didn't believe in a god, or if he did, he had a resentment. He had a really odd relationship between the creator and so forth. So he was always cursing at the creator, and he ends up being the one that survives. Like, everyone else had a faith in that movie. Like, you had a guy that was Christian, a guy that was Catholic, a guy that was Buddhist, so forth. And they all ended up dying, right? Like, and yet when they died, they all died in the most horrific ways by being eaten by wolves. But that guy ends up in the wolves' den, and he ends up fighting the alpha, which I thought was very interesting. But I like movies and even, you know, novelty that does that, where, you know, it's not just a struggle, but also when someone doesn't believe or he gives up on his faith, and then all of a sudden he starts the irony. It's kind of like what Weapon X said, like, the ending is almost ironic. It's like everyone else that had a belief in something did, you know, they all died, and he's the one that survives, and he's like, dude, really? Like, I gotta fight this guy? Like, I gotta fight this wolf? And if you see if you read the novel, it, you know, the movie follows it very well, but he beats he ends up beating the alpha. Yeah, he ends up winning. But in the movie, I guess it's a tie or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's interesting when they do that with characters where they develop a faith when they've never had one to begin with, or they struggle through it and they overcome. I think that's pretty cool. But that's the other thing I wanted to add in.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of good. Yeah, I think it's kind of, I know we're not talking about, but one of the ones kind of on your point was that there was that movie with Denzel Washington, Fallen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's one of those too where they make their own interpretation about something like that. You know, they kind of turn it and make it where you can kind of understand it, and like the, you know, Satan or the devil's in that form. You know, he's not what we're told he's supposed to look like. He's like one of us, basically, and kind of and
there was a, I don't know if you guys, I mean, I don't know how old everyone is in the audience. I'm just gonna pick on you, El Green Machine. You've probably seen The Devil's Advocate, but Keanu Reeves in that movie, he doesn't believe in anything. He doesn't believe in the devil. He doesn't believe in anything, and but then he finds out that his father is the devil, and that's how he's winning all these cases. And I found that to be very interesting too. Whenever they do, or, you know, a character goes through that, like the character is thinking, you know, he's doing all these things, and I think that's probably one of the craziest things about that movie is that plot twist at the end. He's trying to break that cycle, and he, you know, shoots himself in the head, and his father, who's the devil, is playing tricks on him. He goes all the way back to the beginning of the movie and makes him do it again. I just thought that was very, very interesting. I was like, oh, dude, I didn't see that coming. And I think that's why characters like Ghost Rider, like, you know, he sells his soul to the, you know, Mephisto to save his father. Haha, I killed your father through cancer or whatever, or through a, you know, not cancer, but through a motorcycle accident or whatnot. That whole you can never win, and I have to always constantly have this internal battle with the devil. But characters that go through that symbolicness of their own character being challenged through those evils, even if they don't believe in those things or whatnot, I find those type of characters very interesting too. which is why when I think someone on here had mentioned Constantine, that's another really cool character too. I've only read a few issues of Constantine, and that's mostly like the new 52 stuff. I haven't read his older stuff, but every time I think of Constantine, I think of Keanu Reeves, because he, you know that whole thing. But he has a cross on his. So I'm not sure if he has that in the comics, but because in the 2011 the reboot stuff, they don't really mention any of that. But I always found that to be very interesting with those characters.
Let me ask you this, Chen. Do you think when we talk about the topic today is religion and stuff, the Bible? Do you think a lot of the stories that we see are kind of interpretations of Bible stories? I mean, the essence is good versus evil, kind of they're telling you, but there's different stories like David and Goliath and stuff like that. Do you think there's some of the comic stories we see are just different interpretations?
They can be,
like, exaggerating that format, but when you break it down, it's, hey, this is this story. I remember reading this, and
man, I mean, so my wife, like I don't really talk about like my stuff, but my wife's Christian, I'm Muslim. People are like, how does that work? Well, we're equally yoked, and we have an understanding of what the end result is going to be or whatnot. I mean, we have similarities in a lot of things. When we see like certain things, like in movies or read some, if you're reading comics or novels, or when we have discussions, she's noticed this too, like, in just everything, from social media to novelty to comics. I feel like it's the easiest way to draw an audience, and whenever controversy usually sells. I mean, whether you have a belief in a religion or not, it's very easy to find a story that's biblical. And Islam has a lot of stories, but they're all based on the biblical sense, because it's the same God. I mean, you have the God of Abraham, whether you want to call him Allah or Yahweh or Jesus or whatever. The whole stories are the same in all three religions. It's just one is more detailed than the other. So when she and I talk about these things, that's another thing. Like one of her favorite characters is Venom. And when I had told her about, Eddie Brock, that's how, she started getting interested in the character. I'm like, he goes to a church, and that's how that happened. And she's like, why does he go to a church? I'm like, he goes to a church because they're like asking God to punish Spider-Man. And so she's like, what? Like, I go, so she goes back and she's like researching, and she's like, and she's, that becomes like her favorite character and so forth. Later on, she plays an interesting character and so forth. But I feel like that's the easiest thing to do, is to grab a story from the Bible or Judaism or the Quran or whatever. Like for Kamala Khan, they talked about the Jinn verse, right? Which are a race of people that are made out of fire in another realm. Now, I remember telling my wife about that, like, hey, we believe in, things like the Jinn. She's like, what's the Jinn? I said, they're like these fire people. They're like dark shadows with glowing eyes. It seems like, a fairy tale, but Americans, or the way you would see them in novelty or movie or whatever, social media, you would call them genies. But these are folklores from like thousands and thousands of years, 1001, Arabian Nights, all that stuff. But way before Aladdin and all this Disney stuff. So I do agree. I think I feel like most stories are taken from some aspect of some sort of culture or religion, because it's an easy sell, especially if you can make it controversial or relatable to someone out there. Like M. Night Shyamalan, I think someone mentioned, like, he did it. He does it all the time. Yeah, I mean, he does it. He did it with Signs. He did it with Avatar, even though he didn't totally miss the point with Avatar. He's done it with what was that other movie that the lady in the water, right? He did it with her. What was that other one with the grandparents that are like they're like shitting in their diapers all the time? I can't remember the name of that movie. Okay. Yeah, there's a movie where the grandson like visits the grandparents.
All right. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back in.
Yeah. So I had.
We were just galloping off into the sunset here. All right, Weapon X. I had to step away for just a minute, and I came back, and we're talking about grandparents and diapers, and
yeah. I had.
All right. Let's get to this giveaway because we.
Grandparents.
Go ahead, Shelby.
We got to give everything to Paul, and then I'm gonna close this out real quick. All right. So hey, you entered to win. It's hashtag Team Paul. That's what you want to enter to win this copy of Uncanny X-Men 268 by Jim Lee. There's also a mystery book available for this one, or the Upgrade Return of the Valkyries variant number 1. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys, if you haven't entered yet, now's the time to do so. And we're going to bring it up here. All right, it's hashtag Team Paul. Team, not teen. All right, he's not Teen Wolf, Team Paul. No, I know he does look quite a bit younger in person tonight.
No.
But it's hashtag Team Paul. This will be the only time that you're going to ever see us promote the hashtag Team Paul channel wide. So just, Paul, enjoy it now while you can. But we'll give you just another second to enter to win. Thanks again to y'all for watching.
As a baby.
The what?
I think he had more hair back then as a baby.
So but thank y'all for being here tonight. Thank you to the panel for Weapon X and Shelby jumping in. Go ahead.
So if you don't mind, you can time me. But one thing I wanted to mention based on Weapon X's question, does stories, maybe there's a biblical. And since this is Easter, I think the biggest one is about resurrection. So we see it with like Phoenix from the X-Men. She died and then was resurrected as something else, the same way as Christ was resurrected, into his new form as a god and then ascended to heaven. I think Phoenix is a perfect allegory of a resurrection of someone then having, greater powers, almost the powers of a god. And then even more so with like Dark Phoenix, where she, destroyed a whole sun and planet and things like that. Alan Moore has a lot of allegory to resurrection. Miracle Man, Swamp Thing,
the Crow.
Captain Britain.
Well, the biggest one of all, Superman. A lot of people have pointed at Superman and said, that he's that very much kind of a Christ-like messianic figure, and there's a lot of that, especially with his death and resurrection, his death that saved all of Metropolis, and then he beat death and came back, and in the meantime there was a lot of confusion. Yeah, so I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
Yeah, the Crow that
the Crow
we just mentioned. It's going to be a new movie coming out. Also, I was thinking a lot about Daredevil. While Daredevil never died, Elektra did die and then was resurrected.
Elektra.
Frank Miller, named that storyline Born Again. That you were talking about earlier, Carlos, where it had a lot of biblical allegory going through it, especially in terms of his faith. You also had Man Without Fear that was written where where one of the nuns that he had confided in after his father died ended up being his mother.
Right,
and, and she felt like that him gaining his powers was a miracle by God. So, yeah, I think resurrection is probably one of the biggest allegories that we see in comics. We always joke about no one stays dead in comic books, and they're usually resurrected as a new being, the same as Christ was, being resurrected and then ascending. You also see the same pattern even with like Howard the Duck, the Howard the Duck and Man thing, where the nexus of all eternities, I believe, in the swamp. Steve Gerber had a lot of religious allegories in terms of that. Even as Howard the Duck being almost an allegory to Superman or to Christ, having come, from another universe or another planet, and going through those types of arcs. So, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing to me in comics. So
that's a really good point you bring up. Yeah, because resurrection, and that dovetails perfect. Whoops, sorry, folks.
Whoa.
That was from last week's Versus episode. Hey, if you didn't watch it, y'all make sure and check it out. This was a whole lot of fun. All right, let's go and bring this up and do this last giveaways, and we're going to put this to bed. Hashtag Team Paul. Big shout out to Lone Star Comics, or Lone Star Heroes Comics and Toys. 3 convenient locations in the greater Houston area. Coming up in 2 weeks, they've got a great and awesome sale with 30% off slabs, 300 and under. Lots of good books that they've got. So if you're in the greater Houston area or around there and you're going to be there in 2 weeks, I highly suggest going and hitting them up, checking it out.
That was the secret sale. You weren't supposed to.
Good luck to everybody. Here we go.
Good luck, Carlos. Let's go, Carlos.
Stop.
Who's it gonna be?
Carlos. Ah!
Las Cruces. There he is. Las Cruces.
Las Cruces.
Right. Las Cruces, go ahead and let us know in the chat. Las Cruces, are you going to take the Uncanny X-Men 268, the mystery book, or the Return of the Valkyries #1 variant by Art Germ? All right, let's see. Has he popped up yet? Las Cruces, which one you want to get? But he just said hooray. Las Cruces is the only person.
Oh, he said X-Men.
Okay. All right, he's gonna go with Jim Lee's X-Men. This right here. All right, so we're gonna set that aside for him. The mystery book will go back in the giveaway box.
Oh man, let me see the mystery book.
Yeah, no, you won't get to see what was up for it. Now I'm gonna go and jot this down for Las Cruces.
Las Cruces, the shirt is available.
Stop trying to give away my shirt, dude. All right.
Hey man, Billy said he needs his money for the shirt.
While we got this little break, let me go ahead and play something here for the birthday boy.
Oh yeah.
What the hell? Hell.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Man, look at that. That was the worst thing ever.
Yeah. I have missed.
That was the worst thing ever. That was the worst thing ever.
I've missed having Weapon X on here with these fun little videos. All right, hey, so we've got several things coming up in the next couple. I'm gonna let each of you guys say bye real quick in just a second. Just a couple reminders. We got some fun stuff coming up. I still have an unboxing video to drop. Hopefully this Friday, maybe not, but definitely after this weekend. I'm going to be dropping that unboxing about the Kickstarter with the first release from the new Gold Key comics. Very excited about that. We've had Lance Lerman on to be interviewed and talk about the relaunch of Gold Key, a classic brand by new faces. So very excited about that. Also, in 2 weeks, like I've shared, there is another good sale coming to Lone Star Comics. We'll be doing, I think, a couple of fun things at Lone Star Comics in person coming up soon. And if you see any of the cast, Weapon X, myself, Paul, Mr. Collector, Future Batman, or even our guests like Southern or Shelby, I've got a fun little something I want to send to you just for spotting us. And then we'll also, but yeah, we'll be out doing some stuff. And you might, if you're at the shop, you might end up on the channel. Fun stuff. Let me go and send it back over to. Hang on. We're supposed to sing Happy Birthday to him real quick. The video is great, but we're going to sing Happy Birthday to you, Paul. All right, y'all ready, guys? On three. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Come on, Billy. Sing,
Happy birthday to Paul. Happy birthday, dear Paul. Happy birthday to you.
You see that, guys?
All right.
Look at that singing, guys.
Pops Mafia says, "Don't quit your day jobs."
Yeah, don't quit your day jobs.
Yeah,
I'm singing. Hopefully, you can hear me.
All right. And first up, I'm gonna let him. Because he's our super special guest star tonight. Shelby, say bye to everybody. Final thoughts and shout outs.
Hey, thank you all for inviting me. One thing I've noticed, I'm bad out of the news, man. I wish I'd known about this Gold Key Kickstarter because it is closed, and I would have loved to join in on that. Hit me up on the sale coming up on at Lone Star Heroes. We all know the owner over there, and try to visit when he has the sales. Happy birthday, Paul! Good seeing you, Weapon X, and Future Batman. Great, as always, to visit and laugh and sing along. And I want those Gold Key Dale comics that Paul was showing off. And Paul, that's not the first time I've seen you with white stuff on your face. But you remember that night? I ain't got to tell you about it. But anyway, just joking. Y'all have a great holiday, and always be good to each other. And remember, peace, love, and comics.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here, Shelby. I'm gonna jump it back to our long lost producer, Weapon X. And final thoughts and shout outs.
It's a good show, good topic. With the Easter coming up here on Sunday, everyone's going to be kind of doing their own thing here. But it was great being on, seeing the cast, being here with the panel. Of course, picking on Paul like we always do. Paul's a good sport about it. But thanks for having me. And Shelby, it was good seeing Shelby too.
I was just looking at that Superman book that I'd gotten from you just yesterday. So glad to see you.
All right, let's pass it on to the Future Batman.
I had a good time tonight, guys. I'm unfortunate. Carlos walked into a diaper conversation. I've been walking into a lot of diaper conversations.
It's a pretty deep conversation,
I've had that kid now. One guy that we left out who doesn't get a lot of love, Ra's al Ghul. He resurrects all the time. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Ra's al Ghul. See, I knew I was forgetting somebody.
No,
anyways,
that's for next time, man.
We've had a great show tonight.
What are you
and I had a wonderful time with everyone on here. Shelby, thanks for stopping by and just showing off some amazing comics. Just those are some really old comics, man. And I don't think a lot of people have seen, comics like that. That was just awesome. Weapon X, man, you're like the MVP, man. Maybe you don't get, enough love for that, but that video was baller and it was awesome. And thanks for just
worst editing ever.
Dropping by and keeping it alive, man. I mean, his question was really great, and it made me go off in a ramble like the way I'm doing right now. And once again, happy birthday, Paul.
I don't know what you're talking about, Billy.
My sidekick, my Robin, and of course Carlos, who is always the perfect character for every protagonist role that he goes for in Hollywood and stuff.
He's gonna be in Hollywood. I know it.
Here we go.
All right, guys. All right. So.
All right.
Here's
the birthday boy. Final thoughts and shout outs.
Appreciate Lone Star giving me saying happy birthday.
Nice.
This is Carlos' pick of the week. No, thank you.
Actually, that was not Carlos's pick of the week. I will show Carlos's pick of the week.
But what do you mean? That was Carlos' pick of the week. Anyway, thank you all for everybody for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it, right, Billy? Billy don't really care, but yeah, thanks to Carlos. Took me to lunch today. Weapon, he was too busy. Shelby, I don't know what he was doing. Future Batman, I think he was just goofing off. But anyway, appreciate everybody's wishes, and we'll see y'all next Wednesday.
Awesome. All right, folks. Thanks so much for being here again, and for making this another fun, cool episode that we could all hang out with. Quick note, courtesy of our sponsor, all of tonight's winners will receive a copy of Splitting Image #1. This is a parody book that was released back in the 90s. We got some extra copies of that, so you are going to get that in addition to your winning book. A couple books that came out this week. Ultimate Spider-Man #3. If you're not reading it, you should be. Duke #4. Again, if you haven't read this, you should be reading it. And then Feral, which is kind of a sequel to Stray Dogs, but not. It's like the cat version.
Ain't it?
This dropped today, and I got a chance to visit with Tony Fleeks a few months ago, and he was real excited about it. And he told me how they had developed the whole cat world to go alongside the Stray Dogs world. And so it's really neat because this time they had a chance to come up with something that was not just going to end in 5 issues and really not have anywhere else to go. So cool stuff that you can pick up at your LCS. One thing I wanted to do was just close it out tonight with just a real quick and rudimentary. I hesitate to use the word challenge, but just a friendly encouragement. We got a chance to talk about some faith-based comics tonight, but with it being Easter weekend that's coming up, I wanted to encourage each and every one of you that may watch this to explore either your faith or a faith system this weekend over the next week or so, because that really is part of the human experience, and that really is why such a deep thread runs through comic books, because comic books embody the age-old battle of good versus evil, and and the human experience tied to that, and faith is a huge part of that. If you are disposed to, I do want to encourage you to consider, like, if you don't have a faith system, or if you are interested or curious, I do want to encourage you to visit a Christian church this weekend and learn a little bit more about why Easter is such a big deal, because it revolves around resurrection. And Shelby brought that up. I love that he brought that up this evening, about how much resurrection there is that runs through comics, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ is the cornerstone of the Christian faith. So I just want to give you that friendly encouragement. Please don't take it as anything more than that. I am going to go ahead and quickly pray us out, as I do sometimes, and just pray a quick blessing over everybody that's watching the stream and that will watch the stream, and just say a big thank you for each and every one of you, and for such an awesome community where we can encourage one another and reach out to one another and care for one another, like it should be. So let me pray for us. God, we thank you for just this time that we got to hang out. I thank you for friendship, the concept of friendship. I thank you for community, the concept of community. I thank you for all the people that are here. And I just lift up those who are hurting, whether it's physical or some kind of chronic thing, or maybe it's emotional or mental. God, whatever it might be, I lift those who are hurting up and ask for you to bring healing and love and light to each and every one of them. And to those who are watching and hanging out and enjoying this time with us, I pray that they were blessed and enjoyed it. And I pray that this weekend would be a good time of rest, reflection, and possibly exploration into the resurrection of your son, Jesus. So it's in his name that I pray. Amen. Hey, thanks so much for being here tonight and for hanging out with us. As always, I'm Carlos Collects Comics, and this is the Giveaway Show. Y'all make sure to take care. Have a great night. We will see you. We'll see you next Wednesday night for episode number 109. Y'all take care. We'll see you.